Welcome to the InfoSec Insider podcast, brought to you by URM, the UK's leading information and cybersecurity specialists.
Hi, my name's Annie and I'm joined here today with Stuart Moran, who's one of our senior consultants here at URM. Welcome to another episode of InfoSec Insider. So today, Stuart and I are going to be talking about a recent addition to a number of management system standards, which is on climate change. So just to kick us off, Stuart, would you mind explaining what this sort of climate change amendment is?
Certainly. In February 2024, ISO issued an amendment, Amendment 1, to over 30 of the Annex SL-based international standards. The only standard that was really excluded was the new AI standard, as that already contains the amended clause. The main point of the clause changes was an addition to clause 4.1, the context of the organisation. Organisations will now have to understand the organisation and its context requirements. There's also been an addition in clause 4.2 of a note to that relevant interested parties can have requirements related to climate change. So that's the two formal amendments. What should be noted is that the climate change can have a different effect on each type of management system and each management system component. The clearest example on this is that a quality management system for something that produces electronic component will have a supply chain, will use chemicals, will use physical components. That will have an impact on the climate, whereas a health and safety management system may introduce the use of cleaning products. It may introduce cooling or heating effects on a building. So the impact on the different types of management systems will be different.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you, Stuart. How might different industries face unique challenges in integrating these climate change considerations into existing ISO management systems?
The main impact across the industries is going to be on carbon footprint, on the type of energy uses, travel, a lot of the basic infrastructure requirements around it. But what should also be considered across different industries, and I have some examples. So industries with significant supply chains, you will be having an impact on the climate through your transport, through packaging. If you're transporting finished goods or components in your supply chain from the Far East on boats or planes, you need to be able to consider that as part of your quality management system because it's part of your design, development and production. Similarly, if you operate large facilities, and there are 30 plus different management system standards that have been affected by this, such as those relating to education, facilities management, water efficiency management systems, tourist management systems. So all industries are affected by this. One very typical thing that is shared by multiple businesses is their websites. And there are a number of tools out there. You can look at how carbon or emissions efficient your website is in its usage. And it's something that is embedded in how the website is designed and built, and also the platforms on which you host those systems. You can measure and you can look, certainly with a lot of the big hosting providers will provide you with a carbon measure of, or a carbon efficiency measure of their facility. So you can pick and choose, and this should be part of your supply chain decision making. One of the things that's current favourite is the use of artificial intelligence and cryptocurrency. And it's worth noting that cryptocurrency in particular uses a technology called blockchain, which is very energy hungry. And certainly in a number of countries, the mining of Bitcoin has been banned because the amount of energy it consumes. In 2022, Kosovo outlawed crypto mining. There was a ban on Bitcoin mining in Angola in April 2024. And even in the US, residents in Texas have complained that industrial scale Bitcoin mining is driving up energy prices and destroying quality of life. And in fact, in America, in the US, 2.3% of the American electricity supply, which of course it produces carbon emissions and other emissions, is used for crypto mining. So if you're in those industries, you're using a lot of energy that will impact on your carbon footprint.
Wow, that's incredible. So is that 2.3% of all electricity?
US electricity, yeah.
Wow.
Sorry, yes, 2.3% of all US electricity. This is from a recent report. It's something that businesses need to consider. I think the point I'm trying to make here is whatever business you're in, you need to look at the whole of your business when you're considering your impact on the climate. And this really is the underlying aim of this amendment, is to get businesses considering within the context of what they're providing to market, or their information security, or their energy use, their water use, whatever it is, how are you impacting the climate?
So we briefly mentioned AI when you're answering the previous question, but I did sort of want to zoom in on that a little bit more. So considering the increased focus on AI and cloud services and ISO standards, how can organisations leverage technology to enhance their climate change compliance efforts?
As I mentioned, the ISO 42001, which is the new AI management systems standard, already contains these requirements for you to consider climate change within the context of your business. And within that standard itself, it also looks at, within the implementation guidance, some of the issues around the systems and the computing resources that you use. So in planning how you use AI resources, what type of hardware are you running on? What type of systems are running your AI? Because that, again, selecting the correct type of systems will reduce your impact. AI is quite power hungry. It's quite resource hungry. So it needs to be considered there. Another of the guidance points refers to the societal impacts of AI systems. And that directly refers to environmental sustainability and specific impacts on natural resources. So if you're implementing the AI standard 42001, then you need to be considering within your setup what you're doing to the environment in running of that part of your business, or your business, if your business is the provision of AI services. So it's clear that a lot of the considerations are already embedded in that standard. And I can see in amendments to other standards as they come down the line, this sort of guidance will be embedded in them as well.
So final question I wanted to ask you, Stuart, was sort of to look to the future a little bit. So with the evolving landscape of climate change regulations, what future trends should organisations anticipate, and how should they prepare to adapt their management systems accordingly?
A lot of the guidance from the IAF, which is the International Accreditation Forum, looks at what their expectations on businesses are from a certification perspective. One of the issues that organisations are going to have to ensure where they have certified standards is that they have considered and updated their contexts and their interested parties tables to address the needs and requirements of climate change, the needs and expectations of their supply chain, of their facilities providers on supply chains. ISO 14001, which is the environmental management system standards, which is also one of the standards that has been updated with this amendment, looks at how you employ and implement an environmental management system, and looks at risks and impacts of your business on the environment, and how the environment impacts your business. I see that becoming a growing standard, if not for certification, certainly for businesses to align to ensure that their carbon footprints, their emissions footprints are improved. And I'm talking to our clients now who have quality and security management systems about having objectives within their management systems that relate to the impact on the environment, their carbon footprint, and how they can reduce that by implementing better software design, development, and coding methodologies, which is a big one for websites and systems. Because if you're selling a software system that has large impact on the resources it runs on, by cleverer coding, you can reduce that energy usage. You can reduce the way it works. So from those less easy to get your hands on systems to manufacturers of cars, manufacturers of IT components, they're all going to be affected by this. And rising energy costs, everything else, will also impact on considerations. So if you're paying a lot of money to transport goods around the world, or to package in plastic rather than paper, or environmentally friendly packaging, I see all of these rising costs, or there's a way of reducing those rising costs by addressing your supply chain, your management systems, your production and development, by looking at how much you're affecting the climate. So by reducing your climate impact, you should also have a knock-on effect of reducing some of your costs. So I see that's the way of things are going to go.
Amazing. Well, thank you very, very much, Stuart, for taking the time out to talk to me today. And for people that want to learn a bit more about this climate change amendment, we've got a really great blog on our website, which is urmconsulting.com, that is called ISO and IAF Add Climate Change Considerations to 31 Management System Standards. So I would really recommend everyone who has a management system or who is looking to implement one to just go and give that a read, because it's a really, really great blog. So thank you very much, Stuart, and thank you for listening. If you've enjoyed this podcast, we would really appreciate it if you could spare a moment to leave a rating or review at ratethispodcast.com/InfoSec Insider. To listen to more episodes, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Podbean.
Thank you for listening to URM's InfoSec Insider podcast. For more information, visit our website at urmconsulting.com.